So that's French.
Yes, I somehow speak a little bit. I'm not good as you. I know only 3-4 words, as I said. Chalo. So this is getting recorded. So I'll tell you. Our class on Thursday, 0830 IST. After that, hey, the day you went for your cricket match on that day, कितना बजे खत्म हो गया?
Um,
Sorry.
11 PM तक 11:30 I reached work.
Dehydration. I was just telling.
Every 5 hours with water supply you can't.
The heat. I was telling my mother, you never made us play. Look, this boy is now playing at this temperature. My mom says, don't ask him not to play. क्या गर्मी है. Chalo. So a couple of quick recap. The other day we talked about what is distance. Distance is the length of the path that is traversed. We say the word traversed. T-R-A-V-R-A-V-E-R-S-E-D. Traversed, or travel from initial point to final point, irrespective of direction. So between 2 points, there can be many combinations of distances, correct? However, displacement is the shortest straight line path between an initial point and a final point. Anya madam has joined. Okay, this is what we discussed. We also had a little bit dig at what are scalars and vectors. We said scalars are those physical quantities which only need a magnitude. They do not need direction. So if you want to know a little bit about scalar, say mass of tomato 1 kg, you don't say direction. Time 53 seconds, you don't say direction. Then pressure is scalar. Okay, then things like temperature is scalar. Vectors, the best way to understand right now is force is a vector, because as we always said, force, if you apply a force, you have to say what is the magnitude of the force as well as of the direction. As in board mein, if you want to give 5 Newton force, it can be given in so many directions. So you have to specify. Now we are talking in this chapter and in grade 9, as we go on studying new quantities, like you studied now 2 quantities, displacement and distance, you always have to talk about 2 things. What is the unit and also what is the quantity type, is a vector or not. So let's go to displacement. Now we'll go a little bit more ahead in displacement. Displacement is the shortest straight line path. Now say suppose I have a point A out here, and also we spoke about rest and motion. The definition पूछ सकता है कोई आपको. I have a point A and I have a point B. Between A and B, let's say this is my initial position, okay, and this is my final position. So displacement is always the shortest straight line path, and it is directed. See, you're going from A to B. Do you understand? And it can be, if you're coming this way, then it will be B to A. Okay. Displacement. Now pay very much attention out here. कि नया चीज है और नया concept है displacement. It is all about shortest straight line path between what? Initial point and final point. इतना clear हुआ आपको? ठीक है? Then this is a vector quantity. Okay. Now we come to its unit. Now when we talk about unit, इसको लेके हर चैप्टर में बात करूंगा. Physics में, when people started physics from say 17th, 18th century onwards, different type of units were used. Like we are most accustomed to metric type of units. If you go to a shop and you say, भाई साहब किला दीजिए, वो बोलेगा कितने इंच का चाहिए. घर ले लो, कितना SFT का. So we are more used to metric and FPS. Okay, understand, these are some unit system. Metric system like kgs and all, and FPS comes because we were once under the British. So FPS stands for foot, pound and seconds. हमारा काफी British what do you call influence is there. Cake, how many pounds. Flat, you are buying the flat, तुम्हारा घर कितना SFT का है, square foot. However, all these systems created lot of ruckus. As a result, there was this system adopted, SI. SI stands for a French word, I don't know I'm pronouncing it right or not, it's called System International, and they say System International, they unites. Okay, this is as adopted in France. Now the whole world follows this. Though we call our flats as SFT, but if you see the registered document of your flat, you'll always find the flat was sold in square meters. उसमें feet नहीं रहता है. You buy a television on Amazon, you will see the sizes all in meters and centimeters. ठीक है। लेकिन अगर आप दुकान में जाके बात करो ना एंड यू से भाई साहब 22 mm के बोल्ट्स है क्या, तो दुकानदार विल से बात करवाइए आपके कारपेंटर के साथ, आपको आप क्लियर नहीं बोल रहे हैं बट यू आर एक्चुअली क्लियर। तो दुकानदार विल से कारपेंटर से बात करवाइए, नहीं नहीं ऐसा नहीं आता है। देन कारपेंटर विल से हाँ 1 इंच का दे दो उनको, हाँ वो बोलना था ना सर, बिकॉज द वर्ल्ड स्टिल गोज बाय इंचेस 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 एंड ऑल। But if you see an engineering drawing, everything will be in mm meters. तो SI system में ये हाँ 7 fundamentals. I'm coming there. Now little bit this discussion is held up. Whatever we are going to talk, there are 7 fundamental units. You should know this. This is your first basics to understand physics. 7 fundamental units. Okay. And all other units which you know, like you may come across units like Newton per meter square, you learnt about it in grade 8, Pascal, those are called derived units, मतलब इनसे जन्म लेता है 7 fundamental units। इसको एकदम यहाँ पे डाल के रखिए, हम लिखेंगे and you write 7 fundamental units। The first fundamental unit is that for mass। mass का SI unit होता है kg, k in small and g in small। ये लिखने का भी तरीका रखिए, k in small, ठीक है। Then comes length, and you will see every unit will correspond to one classical physics chapter. Length is always in meters, small m. Then comes time, time का होगा seconds which is in s. Then comes electric current, electric current, electric current is measured in A known as ampere, ampere after respect of the person, ampere. Then 5, temperature, temperature is measured in Kelvin, K, this is capital, Lord Kelvin के नाम पे है ये Kelvin। So degree centigrade, Fahrenheit, these are not SI units। Like in labs, when we will actually report temperature for any experiment, we will be reporting it in Kelvin, Kelvin, Kelvin। पढ़ेंगे हम इसे केमिस्ट्री में, ठीक है। Number 6, luminous intensity। दिस इज द ओनली यूनिट जिसको मैंने अप टू माई इंजीनियरिंग आई नेवर स्टडीड इट, बस खाली लिख के गया है। कैंडेला, कैंडेला इज CD, कैंडेला, कैंडेला। एंड नंबर 7, अमाउंट ऑफ सब्सटेंस, मोल, अमाउंट ऑफ सब्सटेंस। इसको बहुत पढ़ना है, CBSE has taken it out but I won't leave you। इसको कहते हैं मोल शॉर्ट में, और इसका स्पेलिंग है MOLE, मोल।
So these are the 7 fundamental SI.
7 SI has got 7 fundamental units. All other units have taken birth from here। आज 9th में आप बहुत कुछ पढ़ने वाले हो, आपका ये क्लियर रहना चाहिए। और इसमें the ones that you will deal in grade 9 are this, 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 then this you will deal in chemistry, and this you used to deal, now CBSE has taken it off, but I will make you deal this। These 3 तो आप डील करते ही जाओगे। एवरी हाँ HC वर्मा, कहीं भी एनी फिजिक्स बुक, नॉट HC वर्मा, इवन इफ यू टेक से BSc बुक, MSc बुक, एन इंजीनियरिंग बुक, कोई भी पढ़ो इसके बिना शुरू ही नहीं होगा। ग्रेड 11, ग्रेड 9 दिस स्टार्ट्स फ्रॉम हियर, ठीक है। राइट, वी कम बैक टू डिस्प्लेसमेंट, वापस हमारे डिस्कशन में चले आते हैं। सो डिस्प्लेसमेंट इज अ वेक्टर क्वांटिटी। अब डिस्प्लेसमेंट को समझना बहुत जरूरी है, ठीक है। देखिए, इट्स अ वेक्टर क्वांटिटी एंड इट्स SI यूनिट is in meters, m, meters। So if they give you a problem in centimeters or kilometers, your job is to convert always in SI। Remember, whenever you solve numericals, this is your mantra, whenever you solve numericals, convert everything to SI। So conversions also should be very clear with you, convert everything to SI, ठीक है। आइए, डन, इस पे ध्यान दे अभी। ओके, नाउ लुक, displacement is a vector। Now if I say displacement from A to B, ये शॉर्टेस्ट स्ट्रेट लाइन है। मान लो बेटा ये है 5 मीटर, 5 मीटर है ये, मान लो फॉर एग्जांपल। So displacement in higher grades, you will see they will write it AB like this. AB means AB is a vector. A vector is written in this manner. It's a vector quantity, means इसके पास direction भी है. AB कितना मिला आपको बेटा? 5 meters. I should also specify what is the direction of AB. I have not specified here. So if you scrutinize me from the correctness of physics, ऐसा लिखना गलत है. So I am right now only telling you what the magnitude of displacement. When you talk about magnitude, then you bring two things like this. So suppose I have a vector A. Say let's say A is a force and this is 5 Newton, say east. And I am worried about only the magnitude, then we write it like this. And this is called mod A, or you also call absolute value of A. The absolute value of A, or we call it as the mod of A. Mod means only the magnitude. It will become clear. थोड़ा hazy है अभी. Hold on. Let's see some more examples. इसको मिटाऊं? Okay. Let's see some more examples. It will become clear. Okay. Let's understand a very interesting thing before we go into that example. Let's say, let's make a Cartesian coordinate system. Just like this, x y axis. ये समझ में आ रहा है आपको? This is positive x, negative, this is y, and this is y dash. Let us position u here at 0 on the origin. ठीक है? The convention we say that when you go right, it is positive. So obviously when you go left, it should be negative. अच्छा, यहाँ ध्यान दीजिए. मान लीजिए आप अपने दोस्त के घर में गए A. आपका दोस्त इस साइड भी रह सकता है. You went 5 meters and let's say you went 5 meters east. समझ में आ रहा है? आपका एक और दोस्त इस साइड में रहता है B. उसका घर भी 5 मीटर की दूरी पे है, लेकिन ये है 5 मीटर वेस्ट. ठीक है? Are you understanding? Now, in the language of vectors, if I say OA as a displacement and if I say it is 5 meters, I would say OB is negative 5 meters. Very interesting thing. This negative is not to be read as the integer of mathematics. किसी भी कंडीशन में ये इससे कम नहीं है. ये जस्ट ये बताता है कि रेफरेंस पॉइंट से अगर ये राइट साइड में है तो ये जस्ट ऑपोजिट लेफ्ट साइड में है. ये नॉर्थ में है तो ये साउथ में है. इट डज नॉट मीन दैट इट इज लेसर. दिस मिस्टेक मेनी चिल्ड्रन विल डू इन 11. In 11 you will be learning about something, a car with a velocity negative 3 meters per second. The child starts thinking गाड़ी स्लो हो रहा है. गाड़ी उल्टा जा रहा है, रिवर्स कर रहा है. Physics is very very interesting out here. Are you understanding? ठीक है? Similarly, if I say the now, however, in these two cases, if I tell you what is the magnitude of OA, you will say 5 meter. What is the magnitude of OB? This is also 5 meters. ये माइनस इंटीजर नहीं है. It's a convention. It's a reference. Reference. मॉड मतलब आप यहां से यहां जाने से भी तो 5 मीटर ही तो चलना पड़ेगा, और यहां से यहां भी जाएंगे तो 5 मीटर ही चलना पड़ेगा. ठीक है? Have you understood? Right. Now just start thinking in common sense. Say I started from here, initial point, and I went here to my friend at A. Right? What is my final destination? A. How much is my displacement? 5 meters east or positive 5. मैं मेरे दोस्त A के पास जाके फिर मैं मेरे दोस्त B के पास भी गया टेक्स्ट बुक लौटाने, और B के घर में ही रुक गया, स्लीप ओवर. ठीक है ना? फाइनल पॉइंट. अब मेरा डिस्प्लेसमेंट कितना है? -5 मीटर्स. डिस्प्लेसमेंट का डेफिनेशन याद करो. देखो इधर, देखो क्या लिखा है. शॉर्टेस्ट स्ट्रेट लाइन पाथ बिटवीन इनिशियल पॉइंट एंड फाइनल पॉइंट. यही फिजिक्स आपको पूरा गोली खिला देगा. विच इज योर इनिशियल पॉइंट? विच इज योर फाइनल पॉइंट? व्हाट इज योर? मैंने बोला ना, यही जाके स्लीप ओवर किया, रात को रुक गया. It has nothing to do. That's why you are using the word shortest straight line path between initial. अभी आपको बहुत ऐसे झटके लगेंगे. What was the distance covered? Can you tell me?
10 meters.
15 meters. पहले यहां से यहां 5 गया, फिर यहां से 5 5 15 गया. Distance is 15. Distance is the actual length of path. अब definitions याद करो. इसलिए ये chapter physics, welcome to grade 9. This is completely different from 8. And you have to learn it, absolutely grasp it. The shortest distance was what? The length of the actual path traveled between initial. What was my initial? O. O to A was how much? 5. We are least bothered about direction. So there is 5 meters. From A to O again 5 meters. O to B 5 meters. 15 meter distance cover किया आप. But your displacement is how much? 5 meters. West. 5 meters displacement नहीं होता है. Displacement vector है. 5 meters west. एक और एग्जाम्पल लेता हूं, ये आपको क्लियर करने के लिए. ठीक है, हमने हमारी गाड़ी यहां से चलाई और हम यहां से 4 मीटर्स गए, इधर गए, और उसके बाद हम 3 मीटर्स इधर गए. ठीक है, तो ये हमारी इनिशियल पोजीशन, ये हमारी फाइनल पोजीशन. अब आप बताइए, व्हाट इज योर डिस्टेंस ट्रेवल्ड? 7 meters. डायरेक्शन वही तो बेकार है, सुनते नहीं हो. You should tell me what nonsense question you are asking, sir. Direction, the distance is a scalar quantity. Why are you worried about direction? I deliberately asked that question. Distance has no direction. In this example, it was 7. Somebody could have gone like this. The question is, which is the final point? This. What is the displacement?
5 meters.
Hypotenuse, which will come 5 meters. और ये याद रखिए, 3 4 5 is a Pythagorean triplet. Always remember, बहुत सारा competitive exam में इसी पे example आएगा. 3 4 5 is a Pythagorean triplet. If you see a 3 and a 4, this has to be 5, and the angles here will be, this will be 90 degree. The angle that is to the opposite side, bigger side, is the bigger angle. So this will be 53 degree and this will be 37. Entire class 11, all problems will be 37 53 37 53. This will be the angle. This is a convention. 37 53 90, ऐड करो 180 हो रहा है, और कॉम्बिनेशन क्या बनेगा? 3 4 5. These are new things to learn. आज भी जय नहीं आया. Okay, I don't know. He's slowly taking things easy.
Did he come last class?
Last class he came. Class before that he didn't come.
Yeah, before that he told that he
हाँ,
had
इस
a headache.
वो हेडेक छोड़ो, वो हेडेक. मैं सुबह से पढ़ा रहा हूँ, मुझे तो, और पढ़ाता हूँ, घर के काम भी करता हूँ, पढ़ भी पढ़ाता हूँ, कौन सा हेडेक? Have you understood displacement now? Shortest straight line. And how did he calculate 5? Pythagoras theorem. एक और प्रॉब्लम करते हैं इसी के ऊपर. हमने पहले ऐसे गए, 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 और फिर ऐसा गया. ग्राफ पेपर के प्रॉब्लम्स है. मान लो ये है 3 3 2 4 1 2 5 6. आपका डिस्टेंस कितना है? एंड यू ड्रॉ इट ऑन ग्राफ पेपर से. व्हाट इज योर डिस्टेंस? 3 + 3 6 + 2 8 + 4 12 + 1 13. 13 and 7 makes it 20 26. And how will you calculate your displacement? Now beautiful question. ठीक है, मान लो that this is Hyderabad and this is Vijayawada, and your bus travels from Hyderabad to Vijayawada in the morning, covering say around 300 kilometers, and the evening the bus comes back to Hyderabad. What is the displacement? 0. Physics says 0. किराए नहीं देना चाहिए. It's come back to his initial place. Final and initial are same. So this type of problems you'll get a lot. A bus travels from Delhi to Jaipur in the morning and comes back to Delhi.
He can travel in anywhere. He can't.
Don't, Angad, leave this matter of disputing the thing. These are established things. These things I have drawn it in this manner. Straight line draw किया हूँ. आप इसको डिस्प्यूट मत करो, अगर ऐसा होता तो मैं ऐसे ड्रॉ करता, आप ड्राइंग पे ध्यान दो। Our bus travels from Hyderabad to Vijayawada and comes back to Hyderabad. What is the initial point? Hyderabad. What is the final point?
Hyderabad.
So what is the displacement?
Zero.
Zero. The Earth revolves around the orbit. In 365 1/4 day, what is the displacement of the Earth? Zero. You are coming back to the same place where you started. Are you understanding? डिस्प्लेसमेंट जब भी होगा स्ट्रेट लाइन होना चाहिए। पर आप खुद सोचो, रियलिटी में इज द रोड फ्रॉम हैदराबाद टू विजयवाड़ा स्ट्रेट? नो। देयरफॉर आई टोल्ड यू वन थिंग, दैट वी विल रीनेम दिस चैप्टर। चैप्टर का नाम क्या था? मोशन ना। अब थोड़ा सा नाम में कुछ नया चीज डालेंगे आज, मोशन इन अ स्ट्रेट लाइन। ग्रेड 9 में आप जो मोशन पढ़ रहे हो ना, those all motions are in a straight line. You will get questions. A train travels from A to B. Everything is like the snooker table. Tuck, 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 tuck. There is no point for curves and all. Curve में नहीं पढ़ते हैं हम यहाँ पे. Motion is all motion in a straight line. Clear? और भी चेंज करेंगे इस चैप्टर के नेम को धीरे धीरे अभी. So, are you able to understand displacement? भाई साहब वेक्टर क्वांटिटी है. एक और बात, if displacement from A to B modulus is 5 meter, then definitely the displacement of B to A should also be 5 meter. अरे जाने का 5 है तो आने का भी 5 है ना? This is only the magnitude. Under no circumstance anybody gives you the authority to write that AB and BA are two equal vectors. No. AB goes this side, BA goes this side. उल्टा. So how can we relate it? सर रिलेट ऐसे करो, नेगेटिव ऑफ दिस वेक्टर, एक दूसरे का नेगेटिव है। दिस डिस्प्लेसमेंट, इफ दिस डिस्प्लेसमेंट वाज अ डी वेक्टर, देन दिस डिस्प्लेसमेंट इज अ नेगेटिव डी। योर चॉइस। सर आई वांटेड टू टेक दिस एज डी, नो इश्यूज, देन दिस बिकम्स नेगेटिव डी। फ्रॉम इंडिया सिंगापुर इज ऑन योर इफ यू स्टैंड एज इंडिया, देन सिंगापुर इज ऑन माई लेफ्ट साइड। इफ आई स्टैंड एज इंडिया, ऐसा करके खड़ा हूं, ठीक है ना, देन अगर मैं इसको गुजरात बनाऊं, इसको असम बनाऊं, तो सिंगापुर मेरे लेफ्ट साइड में है। बट इफ आई एम स्टैंडिंग एज ऑस्ट्रेलिया, सिंगापुर इज ऑन माय राइट साइड। इट ऑल डिपेंड्स प्लेन ऑफ रेफरेंस, दैट्स व्हाई वी से प्लेन ऑफ रेफरेंस। आप किस रेफरेंस से किसी चीज को देख रहे हो, नोबडी विल से दिस इज रॉन्ग। आप इसको डी मान लो तो ये नेगेटिव डी है, अगर ये डी है आपके लिए तो ये नेगेटिव डी है। कॉन्सेप्ट क्लियर हो रहा है धीरे धीरे? सो क्या हम सर इस चैप्टर में डिस्टेंस पढ़ेंगे? नहीं पढ़ेंगे, थोड़ी देर के लिए, उसके बाद टाटा बाय बाय। फॉर एवर यू विल बी ओनली लर्निंग डिस्प्लेसमेंट इवन इन ग्रेड 11। दैट मीन्स योर हेड शुड थिंक, जो भी बोल रहा है स्ट्रेट, अनलेस एंड अंटिल यू गेट टू द चैप्टर ऑफ प्रोजेक्टाइल्स, जहां बॉल ऐसे जाके गिरता है। सो दोज चैप्टर्स वेयर वी सी अ मिसाइल गोज लाइक दैट, कैनन इज फायर्ड, those are not straight line motion, they are dealt differently। तो सिस्टम समझ में आ रहा है? आगे बढ़े। is displacement clear? problems about displacement clear? initially they will trick you a lot with displacement, ऐसे problem दे देगा graph paper में, and then
for this problem how will you find displacement?
so this problem will be given to you on a graph paper and this will be scaled. Scaled means you know, so you just measure it in your scale and then find out what is the, हाँ ऐसे भी रहते हैं। लक्ष्मी सिंह वाला तो इजी है, जो ये प्रॉब्लम है, ऐसा स्केलिंग करके दे देगा आपको ग्राफ शीट में, सो यू कैन स्केल एंड फाइंड। अच्छा, लेट्स सी अनदर वे ऑफ डिस्प्लेसमेंट। ओके, लेट्स सी अनदर वे ऑफ डिस्प्लेसमेंट अगेन विद द क्रो वाला एग्जांपल। से फॉर एग्जांपल वी हैव अ क्रो आउट हियर, ऐसा हमारे पास एक क्रो है, एंड वी से दैट द क्रो विल ऑलवेज टेक द शॉर्टेस्ट पॉसिबल डिस्टेंस, ठीक है ना, ये क्रो। अब इस क्रो को, लेट्स से द क्रो इज पोजीशन समवेयर एट आवर PBL city and the crow has to go to our Anya's house which is say Aparna। Aparna बहुत है, cyber commune this that, कोई एक Aparna होगा, ठीक है, lot of Aparnas are there, it has to go there, and the crow is very intelligent and the crow straight away finds that the straight line path between Pebble City and Aparna is say 6 kilometers straight line path। Now just think, take the crow as the center, आपको नहीं लगता है कि 6 किलोमीटर में एक रेडियस बन जाता है पूरा, है ना? तो आप 6 किलोमीटर में तो कहीं भी जा सकते हैं, इधर जाने से भी 6 किलोमीटर। अपर्णा ऑल्सो फॉल्स ऑन द सर्कमफ्रेंस। हैव यू अंडरस्टूड? तो हम क्या करते हैं, इसको दे देते हैं एक फ्रेम ऑफ रेफरेंस, और दिस इज अनदर वे ऑफ सीइंग डिस्प्लेसमेंट। आप अब तक ईस्ट वेस्ट करके देखे ना, दिस इज कॉल्ड पोलर रेफरेंस, हायर ग्रेड यू विल सी। और मैं बोलता हूं यहां से 43 डिग्री पे अपर्णा है। So how do we say? We will say our displacement will be now said as d is equal to 6 kilometer and 43 degree northeast. You cannot get another destination with this specs. ढूंढ के दिखा दो मुझे. Try to find any destination, any other destination with this. You cannot get. You just cannot get. There's one fixed. When you are coming, when you are anytime traveling with in an aircraft, and say you are lucky enough that in Hyderabad this happens, if you are traveling in Indigo, you will generally not get an aero bridge. Next time when you travel, you will not get an aero bridge, you will get a shuttle service.
Yeah.
Wherever the aircraft comes and stops, you will always say out there will be the latitude plate. That is the universal coordinate of that particular apron of Hyderabad airport.
Yeah,
23 degree north, that minute this. This is what is fed into the aircraft's autopilot system. Varna, have you seen how the aircraft comes? When it lands, it will just come exactly on that line. Although the marshal will keep on telling it, yes, straight, and then come straight. The person who keeps on signaling the aircraft. But look at that aircraft, it will एकदम line में आएगा, आके बिल्कुल वहां पे रुकेगा. And also, this is, science है तो ऐसा करना है. When you get down from the aircraft, don't always be crazy to see, hey, what all beautiful people are going. See नीचे, वहां पे मार्कर्स रहेगा. एयरबस A320, बोइंग 737, 757, 747, सबका स्टॉपर मार्क्स रहता है. Based on the, and all your Indigos are Airbus A320. Okay, all the A320s will stop there. Only when you stop there, that aero bridge will come aligned to your door. Foreign aircrafts which come, like say, like the Air India's bigger ones which fly, Boeing 777. Okay, 777 NL200 ones, those will have 2-4 exits. So उसमें भी marker रहता है.
The flights will go to Singapore.
Those are bigger ones. Okay. Have you understood now displacement? So displacement can be said in this way also. Fly 6 kilometer 43 degree northeast. तो यहाँ से एक ही जगह आएगा. Sir, I could find another 43 degree. अरे बाबा वो साउथ ईस्ट है. Sir, another 40 degree is there. वो साउथ वेस्ट है. Another 43, sir, वो नॉर्थ वेस्ट है. एक ही है अपर्णा जाने के लिए. क्लियर हुआ डिस्प्लेसमेंट? आगे बढ़े. बहुत अच्छा. चलिए. Now, our next concept is to understand rest motion. तो क्या क्या सीख लिया? Rest सीख लिया, motion सीख लिया. Then what all did we learn? We learned about scalar. Scalar and vector we will keep on learning as whenever we come into new things. Because right now we know scalar and vector only from distance and displacement perspective. Distance, displacement. अब नया एक और चीज देखेंगे तो फिर स्केलर वेक्टर को देखना है. And we also know little bit about time. Time is the only thing जो जिसका कोई नेगेटिव वैल्यू नहीं आ सकता है फिजिक्स में. Whenever you are, नेगेटिव टाइम होता है क्या? नेगेटिव टाइम is possible only for भूत, पिचाच, यक्ष and गंधर्व. They can only travel behind time as per mythology. है ना? Human beings cannot travel behind time. So time is always positive. किसी भी प्रॉब्लम में if time comes negative, that means your problem is going wrong. तो ये भी देख लिया. This is also scalar. चलो अब कुछ नया चीज देखते हैं. Now we get to a new thing called uniform motion. Uniform motion. ठीक है? And you should always come with scales. हाँ, अभी क्लास में, वरना आपको मुश्किल होता जाएगा. स्केल बार बार बोल रहा हूँ, नेक्स्ट दिन जो नहीं लाएगा उसको निकालूंगा मैं. A scale is very important when you come to your class, otherwise you will be making free hand drawings only. आओ यूनिफॉर्म मोशन को समझते हैं. Right. So So this is one of our vehicle. Yeah. Out here we are showing a time axis, and out here let's say we are showing a distance axis. Distance, टाइम एंड डिस्टेंस, ठीक है। सुबह 8 बजे, सुबह के 9 बजे, 10 बजे, 11 बजे, 12 बजे। समझ में आ रहा है? अंडरस्टूड? दिस इज ऑब्वियसली फॉर आवर रेफरेंस 0, 100 किलोमीटर, दिस इज 200, दिस इज 300 एंड दिस इज 400, ठीक है। एकदम fairies world type story. Now let's understand uniform motion first by definition perspective, then we'll try to debate it. And this in physics, this will be always called as your body, है ना। बॉडी पहले देखो, समझो, ड्राइंग बनते रहेगा, समझो टाइम है। अ बॉडी is said to be in uniform motion if it travels equal distances in equal intervals of time, ठीक है ना। अब देखो, ये है मेरा टाइम t1, ये है t2, so what is the interval? The interval is t2 minus t1, which is nothing but 1 hour. Do you agree? Let's say this is t3, this particular interval is t3 minus t2, which is equal to 1 hour. And if you see, I made every interval as 1 hour, 1 hour, 1 hour. I'm taking a typical example. This is t4, this is t5, and let's say this was my d0, this is my d1, ठीक है, इसको d1 ही ले लेते हैं, इसको d2, d3, d4 and d5. If I see the distance traveled here, d1 minus d0 is 100 kilometer, and if I see here also somewhere d4 minus d3, this is also 100 kilometer. Now see how your definitions should be absolutely correct. ये सब आपको यूनिट टेस्ट में भर भर के पूछेगा. Define uniform motion. Now where you will go wrong, you'll see. You'll say a body is said to be in uniform motion if it travels equal distances. What are the distances in my example? 100 kilometers in equal intervals of time, right? That is, equal interval of time means every time the time interval was 1 hour, you traveled how much? 100. आप ये डेफिनेशन लिख के आओगे, यही लिखते हैं ज्यादातर बच्चे, यहां गलत हो जाते हो आप। मुझे लिखोगे मैं तो मार्क्स काटूंगा। यहां एक बड़ा छोटा लाइन बच्चे छोड़ देते हैं। आओ एक बात करते हैं, 0830, डू यू हैव एनी इंफॉर्मेशन 830 पे आपका गाड़ी कहां पे था इन दिस एग्जाम्पल? हो सकता है वो 830 तक ऑलरेडी 80 किलोमीटर चल लिया, फिर एक गरम इडली एंड डोसा खाया, and next half an hour he traveled only 20 kilometers. That is also possible, right? So what is the definition we wrote? A body is said to be in uniform motion if it travels equal intervals in equal distances in equal intervals of time. The most important part of it which children leave out is, no matter how small the intervals may be, मतलब you will say that this is in uniform motion only if here it had traveled 50 किलोमीटर, और अगर आप 8:15 में इसका हिसाब निकालना चाहते थे, it should have traveled only 25 किलोमीटर. That is uniform motion. A body is said to be in uniform motion if it travels equal distances in equal intervals of time. You are measuring your time interval as 1 hour. No matter how small the intervals are, I come to say, no, I don't agree with you. You please measure the time intervals in 10 minutes. No sir, in 10 minutes also we are observing it is traveling equal distances. ये बड़ा काल्पनिक सिचुएशन है, ऐसा हो सकता है क्या कभी? Imagine you get out from Pebble City. Is this possible? equal distances in equal intervals of time, and you keep telling whoever is driving, hey, don't go, we have equal intervals, you have traveled more, रुक जाओ, speed up. हाँ, ये रेयर, ये काल्पनिक सिचुएशन है, लेकिन हमें समझना चाहिए equal distances in equal intervals of time. Don't miss out this. No matter, have you understood the meaning of this red line? No matter how small. मतलब if somebody would have measured you at 1 second interval, okay, 100 kilometers in how much? 1 hour. That is 60 seconds. You are completing how much? 100 kilometers. So 1 second you should be completing 100 by 60. That data should be matched. Then only we will say you are traveling in uniform motion. अब देखो, अब आप 9 में आपको ग्राफ्स बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट हो जाएगा. अब इसको आपको ग्राफ में भी प्लॉट करना पड़ेगा. जरा देखो ग्राफ कैसा होता है. एंड बिफोर वी गो टू ग्राफ्स, लेट अस क्लैरिफाई सम कॉमन idiotic mistakes that you will do. This is not graph. ये जो हम सब लोग ग्राफ बोलते हैं ना, ग्राफ ले आओ, this is not graph. Balls, overs and runs scored, this is called the graph. The performance that you plot is called the graph. No, this is not graph, this is called the graph. It can be histogram, it can be curve, it can be pie chart, that is called the graph. Have you understood? Next thing, graph में दूसरा चीज, lines. Now we go to grade 1. In the language of graphs, we have 3 type of line: standing line, sleeping line, and this is called not slant. In physics we'll call it straight line. So when we call a straight line graph, मतलब ये मत सोचना, ये भी मत सोचना, ये straight line है. A straight line can be this way also, can be this way also. ये सब छोटी छोटी बातें हैं, आपको अभी से समझना है. Standing line, sleeping line. This is slanting line. In physics we call it straight line. Straight line. These are called straight lines. And if you get your graph something like this, we call it curve. वो आगे जाके और आएगा, कॉनकेव अप, कॉनकेव डाउन, अभी उतना बोर्ड नहीं करेंगे, अभी इतना जान लो, ठीक है. Now on this axis we will be plotting, let's say यहाँ टाइम प्लॉट करते हैं, सॉरी टाइम, एंड टाइम वी आर मेजरिंग इन से सेकेंड्स. ऐसा यूनिट में दिखा रहा है ना ग्राफ को. एंड हियर वी आर मेजरिंग distance, and this distance is in meters. जब टाइम 0 था, हमने कितना डिस्टेंस कवर किया था? 0. शुरू ही नहीं हुआ था गाड़ी. 0 टाइम मींस my 8 o'clock is taken as 0 time. 0 means, oh भाई साहब, this is clock. You know what is time? Time is 0 hours, 1 hour, 2 hour, 3 hour, 4 hour. This is time. ये तो clock था. Have you understood this difference? हाँ बोलो, हाँ बोलो ना, बोलो. Okay, example of uniform motion. अभी 1 मिनट रुक जाओ, फिर देते हैं आपको. 1 मिनट रुक जाओ. Now say this is 1 hour. Seconds में है ना, 1 second, 2 seconds, 3 seconds, 4 seconds, 5 seconds, 6 seconds. Now just try to think. Grade 8 में आपने एक चैप्टर पढ़ा था मैथ्स में, डायरेक्ट वेरिएशन. In direct variation, the ratio of both the quantities is always constant. Direct variation, 1 pen cost 5 rupees, 10 pen will cost 50 rupees. 1 pen 5 rupees, 10 pen 50 rupees. That is, pen by cost is always simple. 5 by 1, 5 by 1, 5 by 1, 5 by 1. यहाँ भी रेशियो बराबर रहेगा. ऐसा ग्राफ आपको हमेशा कैसा मिलेगा? And they will ask you how is the graph. You will say the graph, it can be a little bit this side or a little bit this side, but the uniform motion graph is always a straight line graph. ये पूछेगा लेकिन, हाँ, this is in your syllabus. It's a straight line graph. Children, don't think that straight line means 45 degree. ऐसा भी हो सकता है, ऐसा भी. What you will not get here is the graph under no circumstance can be like this. ऐसा नहीं हो सकता है, ऐसा नहीं हो सकता है, ये बिल्कुल straight line होगा. What did you learn? Uniform motion. What is uniform motion? A body is said to be in uniform motion if it travels equal distances in equal intervals of time, no matter how small the time intervals are. and the graph of a body which is displaying uniform motion should always be in straight line. पलभर के लिए यूनिफॉर्म मोशन पैराट्रूपर को भी होता है. When the paratrooper is descending, एक जगह आ जाएगा जब he will be traveling in terminal velocity. That he asked for an example, but he will not understand the example now. There is a situation which we call terminal velocity. At that time, no net force is acting on the paratrooper, so he will be descending equal heights in equal intervals of time. But that period is very short-lived. It happens even when you put a cherry in a mango shake. Initially, cherry boom नीचे जाएगा, फिर एक जगह जाके धीरे धीरे ग्लाइड करेगा. You won't see any acceleration, but you don't know these words now. थोड़ी 3 क्लास बाद फिर आपको इसको डिफाइन, आपको मजा आएगा. I'll tell you how the Titanic going down. You know, when something sinks, it sinks very fast. It doesn't, आराम से नहीं जाता है. Very quickly it will go down. Titanic went down in 11 kilometers नीचे चला गया, and it will go down very fast. That we will understand थोड़ा देर से. अगर आपको मजा आ रहा है तो आप ये चीज अभी समझ सकते हो. Uniform motion. Now next question is this motion possible in real life? No. So now can you define what is non-uniform motion? आप खुद कोशिश करो. A body नहीं, when a body नहीं, ऐसे a body is said to be traveling with a body is said to be non-uniform motion. Always your definition should be like this. A body is said to be non-uniform motion. Now say when नहीं, if unequal distances in equal intervals of time. माने एक घंटे में कभी 20 जा रहा है, कभी 30 जा रहा है, कभी गया ही नहीं. 1 घंटा बैठ के मैकडॉनल्ड्स में मस्ती मारा, नेक्स्ट 1 घंटा बहुत गया. होता है ना, like you travel from here to Bangalore, will you not have food? We stop for almost 1 hour. What happened in this 1 hour? Sir, 1 hour गाड़ी बस. जरा उसका ग्राफ देखेंगे. नॉन यूनिफॉर्म मोशन, नॉन यूनिफॉर्म मोशन कभी भी स्ट्रेट लाइन नहीं आएगा, कर्व आएगा. अ नॉन यूनिफॉर्म मोशन ग्राफ कैन बी, इज ऑलवेज अ कर्व. इट कैन बी लाइक दिस, इट कैन बी लाइक दिस, ऐसा आएगा नॉन यूनिफॉर्म मोशन. In fact, if somebody draws like this, sir, first I went with uniform motion, after that, sir, next 2 hours, 3 hours I had food, no distance covered, no distance covered. See, body is at the same distance, and then, sir, suddenly I rattled like anything, and then again big traffic jam, sir. Then I slowly slowed down, sir. ये सब सीखेंगे आप धीरे धीरे. नॉन यूनिफॉर्म मोशन है इसमें, ठीक है. लिखा कि नहीं, भूल जाओगे, लेकिन ये सब कॉमन डेफिनेशंस है. यूनिफॉर्म मोशन, एंड देन अनदर इज non-uniform motion, and you should also know their graphs. You take it like cricket na, uniform batting rate. Every over you are scoring 10 runs. So between every overs 10 runs, so you'll get straight line. But अगर मैं उसको balls में तोड़ दूं, it is not mandatory that every ball you hit a 6. 3 balls went dot. So when I take it, no matter how small the intervals, your graph is failing. So we will not say uniform scoring rate. Apparently it looks uniform over to over, but when we go at a ball level, then it's a, but say 6 runs and over, you are scoring and every ball you take 1 run. That's beautiful. Because you cannot break it to 0.5 balls. It's only 1 ball. Every 1 ball, 1 run. Every one, एकदम straight line आएगा. लेकिन ऐसा possible है? काल्पनिक है सिनारियो. Have you understood? Strategic time out for 30 seconds. If you want to ask anything that is legible, non-legible, stupid, meaningful, you can always ask. बहुत नया चीज पढ़ रहे हो, बहुत सारे सवाल आएंगे, आप पूछ सकते हैं. ठीक है. This uniform and non-uniform will again haunt after some time. मिटा दो. हाँ, ये मिटा दो. वेरी गुड. चलिए, मिटा दिया. तो इसमें डाल दो भैया. आज और 2 चीज पढ़ लिया आपने, यूनिफॉर्म एंड नॉन यूनिफॉर्म मोटियन. ओके, आ जाओ, वापस चलेंगे. डिस्टेंस एंड डिस्प्लेसमेंट. सर अब ये भी तो पढ़ा था, नहीं इसे चोरी छोड़ सकते हैं. दे आर सो क्यूटी क्यूटी फेलोज, मिकी एंड डोनाल्ड, वो तो पढ़ते ही रहना है. आ जाओ. अब एक नया चीज आते हैं, स्पीड. Speed in physics is the ratio of distance traveled. ध्यान दो, हाँ डिस्टेंस है, डिस्टेंस ट्रेवल्ड बाय टाइम टेकन. अच्छा बोलो, आपके गाड़ी में स्पीडोमीटर है?
Yes.
व्हाट डू यू कॉल दैट?
Speedometer.
Speedometer. Have you seen that device very nicely in your car? So you will have something like, you're in India, so your car is in kmph में दिखाएगा. So it's like 0, 10, 20, 30, 40 जो भी है, यहाँ पे भी कुछ रहता है.
Odometer.
हाँ, this is called trip meter or the odometer. Okay, this will tell you how much distance you are traveling. This is the odometer, and nowadays modern cars will have trip meter also. Just before the start of the trip, you can reset it. So this will show you how much is the mileage of the car so far in its life. And trip meter means before going to IKEA, you will reset it to 0. But jitna dur gaya, just like when you take a Ola rental, they will come to your residence and make it 0, 0. And then how much distance you traveled, it will capture about here. Okay, speed. अब आप सोचो, स्पीड इज द रेशियो ऑफ डिस्टेंस ट्रेवल्ड बाय टाइम टेकन. डिस्टेंस क्या है? स्केलर. टाइम क्या है? स्केलर. तो ये बच्चा भी स्केलर है. स्पीड इज ऑल्सो अ स्केलर क्वांटिटी. एनी टाइम वी रीड अ न्यू क्वांटिटी, we will read it and we will also say what is its SI unit. SI unit will be, this is length, this is time. Meters per second, also written as ms minus 1. आजकल ऐसे ही लिखा जाता है, meters per second. S to the power minus 1 is 1 by S. Now see what you learnt in grade 8, how much we are using them.
So this is derived unit.
This is a derived unit. This is not fundamental. Because from the 7 we got this unit. Speed is meter per second.
From which unit did we get it? Oh, wait.
From length over time,
Okay.
उसको हम कहते हैं dimension analysis. That is not there at grade 9 level. That you should be learning at grade 11 level. Dimension means speed has dimensions. Every quantity, 1 minute, Siddharth. Every dimension analysis, we bring every quantity in the analysis of MLT. M stands for mass, length and time. Speed क्या है बेटा? Length by time. So length by time. What about mass? We don't know anything. M0.
That becomes
Any
one.
quantity later in physics, if you are a scientist and you take out who has the dimension this, it has to be speed. This is how scientists, when they are doing something and they say, this is, I have calculated force. How do you know your equation is calculating force? Dimension wise, it should be same. This is dimension.
So for like pressure, what would
Everything. Pressure, because you don't know how force comes out. Otherwise, I would have told you. So when we do force, that time remind me. We can do dimensions for everything. Everything is shown as MLT analysis.
So for all the
Anything in this world, you resistance, anything, any quantity ka dimension
then
analysis.
Why did you only put MLT? Why haven't you
Because
put
dimensions are done only in MLT.
Okay.
These are the basics. इसी में घूम के ही आएगा ही आएगा. Everything will come into this end of the day. ठीक है? But this is not your headache. Yeah, Siddha.
What is negative? Why is that negative?
M by S, x to the power minus m, 1 by x to the power m. Therefore, speed is written as ms, which is m divided by s to the power 1, which is ms to the power minus 1. Now, do you understand? Array, from this step you write it as m multiplied by 1 by s to the power 1. Is it not m into s to the power minus 1? You know this or not? Do you know this or not? First you tell me. Honestly, you tell me, you know this? That you forget, you know this or not? You tell me now. Do you understand this law of exponent? Then you understand this also. What is s to the power minus 1? Okay, let me write it. What is dog to the power minus m? 1 by dog to the power m. So what is s to the power minus 1? You understand? Excellent now. Come. Now another trick. All these calculations we are supposed to do in meters per second, but the world is very, very unjust. They will give you everything in kilometer per hour. So conversion, which R is written like this in physics, not HR, like this. So conversion should be very clear with us. ठीक है, ये लिख लो. 1 kilometer per hour is equal to 1000 meter by 3600 second, which is 5 by 18 meter per second. This should always be on your lips.
Sir, we learned that last year also.
1 kilometer per hour is 5 by 18. Sir, I did not understand. Laddu, 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 2 5s are 10, 18 2s are 36. 1 kilometer per hour is 5 by 8 meter per second. So you will get problems like this. A train traveling at 100 kilometer per hour. आप 100 लेके प्रॉब्लम मत कीजिए, लड्डू मिलेगा. Immediately 100 को 5 by 18 से मल्टीप्लाई कर लीजिए. So the train is traveling at 500 by 18 meter per second. ये और एक important चीज. Either you love physics or you'll love and hate ही होता है, दूसरा रिलेशन नहीं होता है. जनरली मैं अब तक जितने लोगों को पढ़ाया हूँ, लाइक दिस से ना सेड हु इज वीरू सहस्रबुद्धे, दिस इज योर पेन. तुम्हें जब कोई स्टूडेंट मिले, गिव दिस पेन. मैं अब तक मेरे बैच में देयर वाज वन बॉय फ्रॉम ICSE Bangalore, ही इज नाउ इन grade 12. ही वाज वन बॉय हु लव्ड फिजिक्स. मजा आता था. इज देयर एनीवन इन दिस बैच? रणछोड़ दास, राइट ऑफ द डायरेक्टर. अगर आपको प्यार होना है तो अभी होगा फिजिक्स से. इससे बढ़िया चैप्टर नहीं होता है. ऑल द चैप्टर्स दैट यू विल लर्न, दिस विल बी सो क्यूटी चैप्टर. एवरीवेयर यू विल सी समथिंग न्यू इज बीइंग एम्प्लॉयड. ठीक है, समझ में आ गया? स्पीड, हैव यू अंडरस्टूड? अब ये स्पीड को, ये तो हम भी जानते थे, बचपन से पढ़ के आ रहे हैं, डिस्टेंस इक्वल टू स्पीड इनटू टाइम. नाउ दिस स्पीड का दो चीज है. This again will be taught to you in grade 11, but you should know. One is called instantaneous speed. Instantaneous speed. And one is called average speed. भाई साहब यहां से ध्यान दीजिए, इंस्टेंटेनियस स्पीड. कभी हुआ है किसी का पेरेंट का गाड़ी चालान हुआ है हाई स्पीड में? अच्छा, नो. हाँ, हुआ है. हाई स्पीड में जब चलान होता है, यू विल गेट अ टिकट एंड विद अ फोटोग्राफ. You have to, they have to give you a proof na, that you are over speeding. Instantaneous speed means speed at a particular instant. This means speed at a particular instant. Means at HH/mm/SS, what was your speed? वो सीरी जाग गया है, उसको छोड़ दो. हाँ, at HH/mm/SS on a particular DD/mm/YY, this is how the police camera will take your picture. On this particular day, at this instant, your speed was 70. Permissible speed is 50. So you have to be ticketed. और फोटो खींच देता है. ये सब में दिल्ली पुलिस के एग्जाम्पल्स आर बेस्ट. In Delhi, you will find all the Delhi police walas from Haryana, and they are like, Delhi speed is 50 and Chandigarh speed is 55, 60. In once upon a time, Delhi used to be in 50, Chandigarh used to be in 60. So people who come from Chandigarh, they have a habit of driving little bit fast. And Delhi police is like, no matter how much English you speak, he'll understand everything, but he'll be एकदम ठेठ, मजा चढ़ा के ही छोड़ेगा आपको. And then you say, ऐसे RC license, मैं तो 55 पे ड्राइव कर रही थी. सो शी इज थिंकिंग फ्रॉम चंडीगढ़ पर्सपेक्टिव, दैट इज 60 ना, 55. दिल्ली पुलिस आल्सो सेज, मैं तो 53 पे चलान किया हूं आपको. एट 53 आई एम टिकटिंग यू. सी हाउ पेनफुली ही विल से. शी इज सेइंग आई एम ड्राइविंग एट 55. ही सेज या आई नो दैट एंड आई एम टिकटिंग यू एट 53 because 50 is the limit out here. And you are driving at 55, I have ticketed you at 53. किस योर लाइसेंस, गुड बाय. 3 दिन तो आप ऐसे ही घूमोगे, कौन से पुलिस स्टेशन में लाइसेंस है ढूंढते ढूंढते. सो यू विल नेवर डू दोज मिस्टेक ऑफ ड्राइविंग रॉन्गली. सो डू यू अंडरस्टैंड? Instantaneous speed is speed at a particular instant. Now, what is the practical example? When somebody is driving the car and you say your kata is right now out here and say this is 60, means 60 kilometer per hour. So at that time you will say 60 kilometer per hour is right now the kata is showing, and I'm sitting on the seat beside. Immediately watch your ghadi and you say at 8:43:26 seconds the speed was 60 kilometer. That is instantaneous speed. Now question arises, हमारा speedometer हमें क्या दिखाता है? What does the speedometer tell you? Every time it is telling you instantaneous speed, because every time the speed is showing there is some time. You are seeing the time or not, that's a different thing, but ये हर वक्त time दिखाता है. समझ में आया instantaneous speed? Very good. Average speed. Average speed is something like this. Now we are talking about speed. So let me go back to, if you don't understand a graph, don't hesitate. Let me go back to distance and time graph. It's a speed has taken birth from distance. As I told you, distance को थोड़ा पढ़ने के बाद हमेशा बाय बाय दे देंगे. ये उसका लास्ट चैप्टर चल रहा है, डिस्टेंस एंड उसका एक छोटा सा बेटा स्पीड. इसके बाद इन दोनों को हाय विल नेवर स्टडी देम अगेन. तो डिस्टेंस बोले तो एनीवे यू गो. तो डिस्टेंस टाइम ग्राफ ऑफ से आवर फ्रेंड कृतिक इज समथिंग लाइक दिस. ऐसे जा रहा है, लाइक दिस इज अ डिस्टेंस टाइम ग्राफ, राइट. लेट अस अंडरस्टैंड व्हाट इज इंस्टेंटेनियस स्पीड. इंस्टेंटेनियस स्पीड बोले तो हमको ये टाइम पसंद आ गया. दिस इज सम टाइम इंस्टेंट टी डैश. सो आई स्टार्ट आस्किंग ए एट टी डैश दिस फेलोज हाउ मच वाज हिज स्पीड. सो यू इमीडिएटली फाइंड that at t dash this fellow had covered a distance t dash. So his instantaneous speed is d dash by t dash. Speed is always distance by time. Have you understood? His instantaneous speed at this time, it's a v. How to read these expressions? V is the speed. V at what time? At time t dash. V at t dash. इसको ऐसे पढ़ते हैं. V at t dash was d dash by t dash. This is his instantaneous speed. Have you understood? Now we come to average speed. Average speed. Average speed means between two time intervals t2 and let's say now make it t1. His distance was d1 and now his distance is d2. So what is the time interval? T2 minus T1 is the time interval. How much distance did the vehicle move? D2 minus D1. This is his V average between T1 and T2. Total distance traveled by total time taken. Average speed. समझ में आ रहा है? टफ है, इतना आसान नहीं है. एवरेज स्पीड कैसा होता है? एवरेज स्पीड का इजी डेफिनेशन है तिरुमला देवस्थानम जैसा, टी डी टी डिवाइडेड बाई टी टी टी. टोटल डिस्टेंस ट्रेवल्ड बाई टोटल टाइम टेकन. एवरेज स्पीड डज नॉट टेल अस एग्जैक्टली एवरीथिंग बट गिव्स अस एन आइडिया. मैं एक एग्जांपल देता हूं. लेट्स से हैदराबाद टू मुंबई इफ वी गो बाय कार से रफली इट इज से 700 किलोमीटर्स. ठीक है ना. हमने सुबह 6 बजे स्टार्ट किया, राइट. सुबह 6 बजे स्टार्ट किया. एंड व्हाट इज 6 + 7? 6 + 7 इज हाउ मच? 13. 6 + 7, 6 + 6 is 12, 13. दैट मीन्स 1300 आवर्स में हम बॉम्बे पहुंच गए. से रफली 600. व्हाट इज द टाइम टेकन? 7 hours. हाउ मच इज द डिस्टेंस? 700. व्हाट इज द एवरेज स्पीड? 100 किलोमीटर पर आवर. एंड से सपोज लाइक माय इन-लॉज आर इन बॉम्बे. I went there and they told me, अच्छा कितना बजे स्टार्ट किया? 6 बजे. कब पहुंच गया? 1 बजे बॉम्बे पहुंच गया. So if I am clever, I'll just calculate and say, यार इसने तो 100 किलोमीटर पर आवर का एवरेज मेंटेन किया है ना? Not that great. 100 means what does this apparent tell us? कि जब गाड़ी स्टार्ट किया 100 में ही पाँव था. बट इस बीच में क्या मैंने रिफ्यूलिंग नहीं किया? टोल पे स्लो किया. मैकडॉनल्ड्स में रुका. बायो ब्रेक्स लिया. दैट मीन्स आई मस्ट हैव टेकन मच मोर टाइम. If there is a senior in the house, he should immediately scold me, तुमने rash driving किया है. Are you understanding? A normal human being 700 kilometers in 7 hours means रुक रुक के भी आप ultimately इस journey को 7 में कर दिया. So roughly we usually say, like I travel a lot by road, we say if you are able to maintain 70-75 average, means you have done a decent driving. 75 does not mean you have gone slow. Please understand, every time you are not driving your car, you are stopping. अब ऐसे कर लो ना. Let's say we reach this Bombay at around say 1500 hours में reach करते हैं. How much time we took? 9 hours. Now 700 divided by 9. है ना, 9 hours लग गया. अरे अरे क्या हो गया? You are so absent minded. 7 hours till 1 o'clock, another 2 hours, 9 hours. Now see, what is this thing? 9 sevens are 63 and 7 77. ठीक है, 2 घंटा अभी बांट दो. 2 घंटा in bio breaks, toll slow, then suddenly some nice spot, one Instagram reel, one tired, one McDonald's, refueling. This is nice. If you find somebody is running at 100 kilometer average, that means he is actually driving his car much higher speed at some slots. Wherever, it's simple. Your average score in mathematics in all the tests is say 39 out of 40. But in the first test you failed miserably, you scored only 5. That means some test you must have scored 85 over 40. वरना तुम्हारा average कैसे आ रहा है? Are you getting it? To maintain your average run rate, there are some poor overs, there are some very superb overs also. So average just gives us an idea about it. और average को लेके बहुत सारा numericals आता है. And at this stage, we will be bidding bye-bye to speed and distance forever. Do you know the difference between race and rally? जो लोग car racing. Race is always a competition against time. Everyone will be learn. And whoever reaches first. Rally is not like that. So I don't know how many of you know rallies. Once upon a time, like people from Tamil Nadu are very crazy for rallies. And India, we used to have some very good rallies. The Himalayan rally. So Himalaya to Kanyakumari, it's a rally. So JK Tires, Maruti, Gypsy, they'll all sponsor these events. So whenever you participate in a rally, it will be Jairib Das with Vaibhav, and we are on our Maruti Suzuki Gypsy. So in rally, it's not possible that you will go in race. So you will go like this. Say there will be various pit stops. So they'll tell you, whenever we start, the navigator will be handed a sheet. Maintain 65 kilometer mountain rally, 60 kilometers average. He will not be told how far he has to go, in what time he has to reach. 60 kilometers. So the navigator plays a great role. आप देखना navigator constantly calculator and calculating. बड़ा speed बड़ा हम लोग lost किए. Wherever you are losing time, so you reach the next destination. But the rally person know at what time you should reach. So you can reach either on time, or you will reach before time, or you will reach after time. In all cases, you get some penalty points. Ultimately, end of the journey में जाके जिसके सबसे कम penalty points है, वही rally जीता. इसमें आपके पंक्चर्स भी हो सकते हैं, रिफ्यूलिंग भी होएगा. You will like to stop for some tea also. You are driving from Himalaya to Kanyakumari. So navigator's role is very important. They'll only tell you maintain average speed. Next 200 kilometers, drive at 80 average. So do you know what is 80 average? It's not possible. सामने गाय आ जाएगा, ब्रेक मार दो बस. Again, did you get the idea?
Yes.
We cannot maintain average speed every time as constant. It's like when you travel to the airport side, earlier it was 60, now they have made it 80. You maintain 80, but how long can you maintain 80? सामने तो speed breaker आएगा ना. Is the idea understood? Because next class we will take up numericals on average speed, and this is the time we will be bidding bye-bye to average speed. थोड़ा सा uniform speed. अब uniform speed सोच लो. What is uniform speed? A vehicle is supposed to be, a body is supposed to be an uniform speed if it covers equal distances in equal intervals of time.
What's the difference in motion?
Uniform speed does not have direction. This you should ask when we will read uniform velocity. थोड़ा रुक जाओ. By next class, lot many questions will open up. So we understood about speed. अभी भी mathematics नहीं घुसा है. After some time you will see this chapter is only numericals. Now it is your concept build up stage. You have to learn about quantities called SUVAT. SUVAT मतलब समझे हो? S will stand for displacement, U will stand for velocity, V will stand for another velocity, A for acceleration and T for time. हाँ, ये पहले ही पढ़ के आ गया है ज्ञानी बाबू। तो सुवेट में अभी तो आपने सिर्फ S को पढ़ा है, डिस्प्लेसमेंट, स्पीड नहीं होता है, स्पीड को भी बाय बाय देना है, ठीक है। सो विल कैच इन नेक्स्ट क्लास देन। और भाई साहब थोड़ा पढ़ के आइए नेक्स्ट क्लास में, नहीं तो प्रॉब्लम होएगा।